What's up guys? Welcome back to another ClearShot golf video. Today I'm going to be doing a 6-month overview slash review slash pros and cons of the SkyTrak launch monitor and golf simulator. I picked it up in March. We actually did a video setting that thing up and kind of an initial test. You can find that in the link above. But after using it for some time, I just wanted to talk about some of the observations I've seen, some of the things I really like, some of the things that I dislike, and then kind of give some insight into whether or not it's something that's worth buying if you're looking for a golf simulator setup. So I guess in general, I would say the data is good. Software is easy to use. It does what I need it to do. I use TGC 2019 as my golf simulator software, and the gameplay on that is really good. One thing to note, if you saw my original video setting this up, I had the SkyTrak sitting on my hitting mat, but when I was making contact with the ball, it was jarring the SkyTrak a little bit, and it was causing a fair number of misreads. So one difference between the setup video and now is that I moved the SkyTrak off to the side, and I've had a lot less issues ever since. So let's start with the pros. I think one of the obvious pros of this unit, which is probably what draws a lot of people into it, is the price. You can pick up the SkyTrak by itself for $2,000. I got a metal case with mine, which was a little bit more, but it's probably worth it because a shank, I guess, could mess up. Something like a shank could mess up the unit, but that's the metal case. The SkyTrak is just the little piece that's inside of there. Another pro is that it's pretty portable. It's lightweight and it's small, and it does have Wi-Fi connectivity. So if you wanted to take this over to your buddy's house, like I've done a handful of times, you can Wi-Fi connect it to an iPad, and you can just set up the iPad on a table or stream it to a TV and hit into a net or something and basically use a simulator somewhere else. I haven't tried using it outside, but I've heard that it doesn't do the best, but it's great for what I use it for, and that's mostly my indoor setup. Pro number 3, this thing's really easy to set up. I think the hardest part was downloading software, but basically it just plugs into the computer using a USB cable, and once you have the software and drivers installed, it's ready to go. And that is how I have mine set up. So the SkyTrak is here. I've got it running. Comes with this little USB cable, but it's kind of short, so I had to get an extension cable to get it all the way to my computer that's back behind my cart. But, you know, it functions fine. Most of the time when I'm using this, I'm just using the range software, the SkyTrak software that comes with it. I do have TGC 2019, which I use as my simulator software if I want to play courses or whatnot, but mostly I'm just using the native SkyTrak app, and I'll show you kind of how to get into that, what some of the features of that are. It does work with other simulator softwares though, so you don't have to use TGC, but that's what I ended up going with, and it's great for the few times a year that I use it, and so I'm probably going to be playing it a lot more as we get into the winter months. Getting set up to use the range software is pretty simple. Basically you just got to push the power button on the SkyTrak, open up the SkyTrak range app. I have it set to automatically log me in, and then once the SkyTrak turns on, it will recognize it, and then you can go to the range. Probably the area that I use the most is the practice software in the range app. When you load this up, you just get a pretty standard range. Over on the left where it says practice area here, you can click that and then select if you're trying to hit like if you want to aim at a green or a fairway. So I'll usually do greens. You can set the target size, so how large the greens are going to be. I usually do somewhere like in medium range, and then set your distance. So set one at 160 just so you can kind of see how that looks. And even though you don't have to choose a club to hit, it'll recognize it just based on the spin numbers and the ball flight. Usually I'll select one anyways, so I'm just going to pick a 7-iron, and then we'll hit a couple shots. Well, there was 5 shots there. They all went left. That was me. That was not the SkyTrak. Either way, you know, it registers. Shows a pretty accurate shot shape there. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can sort of see some dispersion circles there. Typically, I'll carry my 7-iron about 160 yards, but because I was pulling it and shutting the face a little bit, the average is a tad bit higher. You can go into the shot history here, and if you want to select some shots and look at them on a plotting scope, you can do that. So that's a pretty neat feature with your dispersion circles. So yeah, pretty cool. If you go into a numeric display, this will just show you a little bit more details than what's on the main screen for the last shot that we got. So that was, you know, 167 carry, 174 yards total distance, club speed at 82, ball speed 118, and then spin, like backspin, launch angle, all that stuff. So if you like nerding out over data, it is here for you to check out. The shot optimizer is a pretty cool tool. This will show you, how your shots compare to what like solid averages would be. So launch angle optimal will be 14 to 20 degrees, backspin 64 to 7600 RPMs, descent angle 45 degrees to 50. So as you can see, I am not optimized here, but those were, well, this was a kind of a pulley shot, so yeah, you can use this if you're trying to work on something specific, trying to get your backspin numbers up or whatever. And there's some different settings that you can play around with. You can go in here and change the camera angle, how many tracer lines show up, what the graphics are. If you want to add wind speed, humidity, altitude, whatever, you can do that here. And that about wraps it up for the range software. One thing I actually forgot to show, which I'll have to do now, is when you're in here on the practice range, you can do a randomizer here at the bottom, and then you can set your minimum distance and your maximum distance, and then each time you go to take a shot, it'll jump from one distance to the other, which kind of simulates like playing on a course, so you're not just hitting the same shot and the same swing over and over again. So that's cool. Back at the main menu, the second tab is the challenge tab. There's 3 kind of games you can play with other people. You've got a closest to the pin, which is what it sounds like, target practice, and longest drive. So you can add in multiple players and compete against each other. Under game improvement, there's a couple cool things. The first is a bag mapping tool. So if you go into bag mapping, you can basically try to set up your bag to determine how large you want your gap between clubs to be, and how many clubs you're going to carry, what the clubs are. So my gapping is about 10 yards per club, and it's pretty close, but if you're not sure what your club gapping is, then you can use this, or you can just check to see if the clubs you have are properly mapped. Then back under the game improvement tab, they've got a skills assessment. I actually probably do this about once a week. This just gives you a few different yardages, kind of spread out between your clubs. See what you do well, see what you don't. You can select how many targets you want to hit at, anywhere between 1 and 10. You can do the number of shots per target. Then there's different presets. So this is automatic for short, like short clubs. Then you've got long, which the distances are a little bit longer. Medium, you get the point. But if you want to modify it, you can. I'm going to set one of these up real quick, just to hit a couple, show you how it works. So just for the sake of not taking up too much time, I'm just going to do 40 yards, 75 yards, and 90 yards. Pretty much just be using my 60-degree wedge 4. I'll do 5 shots per target and see how I do. Alright, so skills assessment's done. This kind of shows you an overview. I feel like I struggle a lot between really anything from 30 to 70 yards because it's not a full swing, and so you got to be a little delicate with it. So looking at this, I played my 40 and my 75 yard shots pretty poorly. It even gives you a shot dispersion and dynamic handicap, but I hit my 90 yard target pretty well. But either way, this is fun to do with your whole bag. Get some in there for short shots. I'll try to mix it up and bring in mid irons and long irons as well, but it's a good game, and yeah, I like it. So then the last part of the SkyTrak software, in the game improvement section, is the wedge matrix. The wedge matrix is actually it's a tool to help with what I was just talking about. If you can't read it, the little window on the screen says, similar to the clock drill, you will use 4 different swing lengths for each club in this exercise: a pitch, half swing, 3/4 swing, and full swing. When finished, you can use the matrix out on the course to help you choose the best club and swing length combination for any given shot. So you can choose what kind of club you want to use for pitch shots, half shots, 3/4 shots, full shots, and run through that. Also a good exercise. And that basically sums up the SkyTrak software you get with the SkyTrak. I'm not going to do a demo of the TGC 2019. I do have if you're interested in what the gameplay on that looks like, there's a video of me and Austin playing around out there, and I'll link that in the video. And yeah. And one last pro that I didn't mention, the SkyTrak also works with Swing Catalyst, which is like a swing analyzing software. So you can use the Swing Catalyst as a trigger to pick up your shots, and cameras will record your swing, and then you can look at what the shot would have looked like for that swing that you shot. But you can't use the SkyTrak range software while you're using Swing Catalyst, so you kind of have to hit it like a blank screen while you're looking at the at the swing video analytics. But either way, it's cool that it works. I use it every once in a while, and I enjoy it. And I'm not sure that if I mentioned it or not, but for the most part, I would say that the data that you get on this is really accurate. At my golf club, we've got a TrackMan simulator inside, and the numbers that I hit on my clubs match up very similarly to what they do on the SkyTrak. So I feel confident that what I'm hitting in here is pretty accurate. Plus, a lot of other people have done side-by-side tests, but the accuracy, shot shape, spin numbers, those are all pretty spot on. And probably, I don't know, I think one of the big driving factors to why you should or should not consider a launch monitor in the first place. So I think I've pretty much covered everything that I like about the unit. Now it's time to get into some of the things that I don't like. The biggest thing that frustrates me are the occasional misreads. You'll just be hitting and randomly it won't pick up even if it's a good shot. I feel like that happens more if I've had the unit on for a while and I've just given it a break, and then I come back and I hit more balls. But I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining things. But either way, it does miss some shots, as I'm sure a lot of other units do. But when I had a GC quad, I did not notice as many misreads as I do with the SkyTrak. So I don't know, I would say maybe on like a standard shot, like a full swing iron or whatever, probably misses like 1 out of 20. So it's not terrible, but it is frustrating when it happens, because I feel like it always happens to me when I make a really good swing. It will definitely miss more if you have a very over-the-top sort of swing, because you're going to come on the outside of the ball and you'll block out the camera from seeing the ball. Things that I've noticed that have helped with the misreads would be good lighting, a ball that isn't super marred up so there's clear markings on the ball, and then just kind of keeping the face where the cameras in the SkyTrak are, keeping that area clean. Those are the 3 things that I do to try to get the most consistent results out of it. The unit doesn't do well with putting, and it doesn't do well with short chips, and I've seen that mostly be an issue on the simulator software when I'm playing TGC. If I'm just trying to do like a 5-yard chip or something, just kind of bump it out of the rough onto the green, it doesn't seem to pick those up. And it also seems like it struggles more with like a darker faced wedge. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the times that I feel like I've missed more short wedge shots, or it hasn't picked them up, is with my MG2 TaylorMade 60-degree wedge. As the face, it's kind of a little bit rusty. I don't know if that makes a difference, just kind of an observation, but I'm going to do a couple little 5 to 10 yard chip shots and we'll see if it misses any. So I've got the green at the range set to 10 yards out. I'm going to hit a couple 10-yard shots, see if it picks it up, and then hit some like 5-yarders, just little dinky shots, and see if there's a miss there. What you're looking for is on the ground in front of the unit where the laser is. Sometimes if it misses a short shot like that, the laser will just stay there, like it didn't even pick up that a shot happened. Sometimes the laser will disappear, and that's when it's trying to calculate the shot data, but if it wasn't able to read the ball spin or something, then it'll just kind of pause for a second and then return and still not record the shot. So here we go. So that was 5 shots with my 60-degree wedge, trying to play like a 10-yard shot, and it didn't pick up any of them. So that can be frustrating. Now, I don't generally practice that shot a whole lot on here, so it doesn't kill me that much, but just to test my theory of the dulled face, I'm going to try the same shot with my 56 degree, which is a little bit, it's got more of a polished face, so see if that makes a difference. So out of five shots with the 56 degree, it only picked up one, and it said it carried 5 yards, which I don't really know how accurate it is, or how accurate that would be, but either way. So that is just an area that it struggles with. If anybody knows or has a solution for why that happens, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to, not have that happen. But either way, that's one of the bigger cons for me as well. One thing that I don't really, it's not really a con, but it has an aiming system on here that uses these two lasers, and I don't really feel like that's accurate. The way that I've found that this is the most accurate or most properly aimed is just by kind of trying to keep it parallel to your target line. And I'd say for the most part, I feel pretty comfortable with where it's aimed most of the time. But I'll kind of adjust it little by little here or there if I feel like it's favoring like a pull or a push, but I don't feel like I'm hitting that shot. But either way, I just try to keep it parallel and then not mess with it. And then the last con for me, the last con for me would be the delay between when you hit a shot and when it's registered and shows up on the screen. It's maybe like a second and a half, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of a minor annoyance, and I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about. So like you saw, maybe a second or two, nothing serious, it doesn't bother me that much, but we're talking pros and cons. So there it is, and you noticed it, the first shot I took, it missed it, so that happens occasionally as well. I think the SkyTrak is a great launch monitor, especially for the cost. I don't think that there's really anything on the market in the same price range that can do what the SkyTrak does. I feel comfortable with the numbers. I'm comfortable with the way that it performs. I think the data is great. I think the range software that comes with it is great, which is predominantly what I use it for. Yes, there are some downsides, but I think the value of it is, the value pretty much outweighs whatever the downsides are. If the downsides kill you that much, then you could drop $6,000 plus to get a Foresight unit, and those are great. But if it's not in the budget, then I think this is a great one. Ultimately, I'd say probably the best bang for the buck simulator out there, especially for indoor simulation. That about wraps it up for today's video. If you have any questions about the unit or any experiences that you can share, I'd love to know in the comments below. If you like this type of content, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Really helps us out and we appreciate it. And I guess let us know if there's anything else cool that you'd like to see, and yeah.